Welcome, Bronco Nation, to another exciting video. I am incredibly excited to have a future Boise State Bronco on the channel with me today. We've got Connor Gilbreath, transfer from LSU, just announced his commitment to Boise State a couple of days ago. So we're going to talk about who Connor is, introduce him to the fan base a little bit right now. We're going to talk about his journey to Boise State, how he got here, and we're going to talk a little bit about his excitement, his expectations for the season this year. As you all will notice, my studio is looking a little bit different. That's because I am getting ready to move right now. I'm going to be going to the quote-unquote land of enchantment and land of some of the worst college football you will ever watch in your life, New Mexico. So studio looks a little bit different right now behind me, but we're going to make sure the content itself is even better to help distract from the wall space behind us. So thank you so much for coming on. Connor, you went to Butte Community College first in Colorado in 2022 out of high school, which is actually where you are at right now during the shooting of this video. They've got their spring game going on in the background, and you're there watching that. So he is actually at where it all began in Butte Community College in Colorado. And then you went to LSU last season, played in all 13 games, big guy for the crucial moments, the short yardage stuff. And now you're transferring over to Boise State. Thanks so much for coming on the channel, man.
For sure. Thank you for having me.
This is going to be a great video. We're really excited to have you at Boise State. Obviously excited to have you on the channel to talk about your journey to Boise State. But I've got a big question right off the bat. I like to start off these videos with just really, hard hitter, super serious, maybe controversial questions. So what Disney movie had the biggest impact on you as a kid?
Lion King. That was my favorite for sure. Yeah.
That is great. That's actually my wife's favorite movie. I'm not even joking. I got it not planned. That's her favorite one. Dude, can tell you're a man of refined taste and high character with that question right off the bat. We can continue the interview. We're good to go. All right, man, a little bit more serious here. Growing up, high school, junior college, now through LSU and over to Boise State, was there anybody who had a significant impact on you, a role model while you were growing up at any point that helped kind of develop you into the person and player that you are today?
Definitely my dad. I mean, big sports guy growing up and played a lot when he was a kid. And he was just the guy that would push me day in and day out, and he was the guy who, got me to where I am today pretty much. So.
Well, you went through the JUCO route initially and then over to LSU and now over to Boise State. Can you talk a little bit about that journey? It's becoming a little bit more common with the transfer era of college football, but it's not entirely common yet. Can you talk a little bit about how you felt your time at Butte and then LSU helped grow you into the athlete that you are today and help kind of develop you? Talk a little bit about that journey.
For sure. So kind of going a little back, I went to like a pretty small high school. So there wasn't much schools coming in and out. So originally I was committed to Southern Oregon University. It's a little NAIA. And so, before that summer, my mom had asked me if I had really wanted to go there. And I just cut it straight to her. And then, before that, I had been in contact with Coach Snellen, and I just know Butte just has a reputation of sending guys on and stuff. And so I graduated in 22 and then came out here for 1 year and then was able to go out to LSU in the summer. And so that's how I ended up out there. So.
What do you feel like you learned any specific life lessons along the way, working your way through the community and then going over to the Power Five and now over to Boise State? Any life lessons along the way that really stood out to you?
For sure. I learned a ton through this whole process and just I think a big thing was just how I matured through Butte. Met a ton of different people and then was able to go out to LSU and then see how that functions, so I think I did learn a lot through the whole process and I'm very grateful for it. So
when did Boise State first cross your radar?
Originally they crossed my radar last spring at Butte when my recruitment kind of started to take off and I had talked to Coach Keene and then that kind of fell out a little bit because he had told me, well, originally I was supposed to be a December transfer. That's what kind of the word was. But I took care of some school stuff in the summer. And then that was what allowed me to show up in August at LSU. So.
When Boise State coaches were, pitching the school to you, trying to draw you over here to the program, what is it that they emphasize? What is it about Boise State that drew you to them, and what are the coaches, or what are they really proud about when they're trying to pitch these recruits and bring them into Boise State?
Definitely the culture and the development of the kids, and that's what strikes me the most because I know just I've always known Boise is an elite culture, but I mean elite school, but I mean just really hadn't done my research on it yet. But I've been in contact with Coach Keen a lot, and so he just kind of filled me in a little bit, and I just have been falling in love with it ever since. So
Was there anything about Boise State's offensive style at all that stood out to you that was part of an attractive draw maybe for the school?
yeah, well, I think the real big thing is um they're they're giving me the option to redshirt and then convert to O tackle, and I think that's what I'm really looking for. I think that's where my true potential lies.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Switching from tight end to offensive lineman. So I don't think I mentioned this at the beginning. At Butte and at LSU, you played tight end,
Right.
mostly in blocking scenarios there at LSU. And now, like you mentioned, you're coming over to Boise State with a redshirt option to transfer over to offensive line. Can you talk a little bit about what you think your experience is as a tight end, how that will benefit you coming over the offensive line, and then just talk about some challenges you foresee as you learn this new position?
Yeah, so the benefit I see is definitely like my athleticism. I think I'm going to be able to carry that over into the offensive line, and then a challenge, definitely technique because it's been a while since I played offensive line, and so. But I know Coach Keen is going to get me right out there.
Is that a position that you played in college and sorry, in high school as well?
Yeah, so I started playing football in about the fifth grade, and then up until my junior year, I played tackle up until my junior year, and then coach out there decided he wanted me to play H, and that's how my tight end role kind of started.
Talking about your high school time, yesterday you mentioned when we were talking about setting up this interview that you were doing a football camp there for kind of local kids. Can you talk a little bit about some of that volunteer work that you've done?
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to see what they're doing with the program. I mean, it's moving in the right direction. I mean, it's fun to be around the kids and give them a little knowledge and insight, and so they're not just like walking into it like without knowing what's up. You know what I mean?
Say I'm a high school kid right now who's thinking about going and trying to play college football. What's some of that advice that you give to them?
So the first thing I tell them is definitely the classroom because that's something that kind of, I mean, not really held me back in high school, but I mean, that's what coaches look for right away, right? And then so the next thing I kind of emphasize is just working on their own and getting in the weight room on their own, and because that's just what's going to separate them, especially at the high school level, just being able to overpower everybody on the field. So that's the 2 points I kind of emphasize when I'm talking to those kids.
Our final question as part of this interview, and along the lines of asking advice, you got the chance to be part of that 2023 season for LSU, which produced the 2023 Heisman winner. So you got to be part of that team that helped produce Jaden Daniels there for the Heisman. And Boise State this year, they're running their own Heisman campaign for Ashton Genty, the hashtag
Right.
Heisman with you campaign for Ashton. You got to be there out there helping Jaden go out and get that Heisman Trophy. You got to see the work that he put in. You got to see his techniques and his skills that he improved and his process that he put into place to help him go out and win that Heisman Trophy. So, as someone who has been part of that journey for a Heisman winner, what advice would you give to Ashton as he starts his own Heisman campaign and working towards that goal?
Honestly, just to keep his head down and keep doing what he's doing. I mean, that's what I really picked up from Jaden was, I mean, he was just so locked in. You know, he knew what he wanted and he got it. So, I mean, just keep his head down and keep doing what he's doing, honestly.
Well, thank you so much, Connor, for coming on and doing this little short interview. I'm going to let you get back to watching Butte's spring game there and reconnecting there with with where it all started for you. So thank you so much for coming on. We look forward to seeing you on the blue here. Maybe not this season with the red shirt. I know you guys can still play like 4 games, but in the future as you work your way into this lineup. So really appreciate you coming on, Connor. Thanks so much for being part of this. Thanks everybody for watching all the way to the end. Make sure that we got a lot of videos coming out before the season kicks off. And we've still got the special teams preview with Kyle Brotzman that's going to be coming out here in a few months. But we've also got the defensive preview with JL Skinner and Hunter White, former Boise State greats, who talked with me about the Boise State 2024 defense. And then recently did the offensive preview with Mike Sanford. So I'll put links to all of those videos. And of course, the video I just did with Jake and Jason Steele, also Boise State offensive linemen, some of your brothers in blue there that you'll be working with once you get over to Boise State. So make sure everybody you go out and watch all that great Boise State content, and make sure you like, subscribe, because it's been a heck of an off season for an incredible 2024 year. So thanks so much for coming on. Thank you so much, Connor, for being part of this. Thanks everybody for watching all the way to the end. And as always, go Big Blue!